In 2026, the only thing stopping you from having a one-person, 7-figure business is your imagination. And we're going to fix that today, because today we are going to discuss 50 agentic workflow ideas for B2B business owners. So it's actually amazing to me how many people have an imagination barrier, and a lot of people do not know how to actually come up with ways to generate agentic workflows. Now, I've actually done this before. However, I'm going to do it again because this is the easiest way to come up with ideas in general. And I like to call this idea multiply out, combine, divide. So what does this mean? We're going to take a concept, we're going to multiply it out, i.e. we're going to split it up into its constituent parts, and then we're going to combine the parts that are all the same, and then we're going to divide the things that we have in our new bucket into specific items. So the way that this is going to look is the following. So number one, we have linear reduction. And we're going to walk through this. So if these names just don't make sense to you, don't worry about it. It's fine. So number one is linear reduction. We're going to take the items and we're going to break them down into their constituent parts. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take the concept of business departments, and then we're going to break them down into their specific functions, and then we're going to turn those functions into bottlenecks and problems that need to be solved. So step number two is to break things down into their specific problems at the base level. Number three at that point is to then create a list of solutions for those problems and bottlenecks. Now, some of these solutions are going to be the same thing. So number four is to combine the solutions in that accomplish the same goal / have the same essentially Python script, or have the same execution. And then number five, from there, once we've now combined all of the solutions and we created all of them, we're going to divide them up into specific agents and then run the maniacal planning, not script, what do you call it? The maniacal planning prompt on each one. Now I'm going to show you what the maniacal planning prompt is, because this is one of my favorite ways to do things that you shouldn't be doing in one shot. Now, everything that we've spoken about is something that can be done at any point, and you'll have situations where this is going to look different at different times. So the way that you're going to generate a lot of these ideas is through the following, but we're going to start off with linear reduction, and linear reduction happens on what level? It happens on the department level. Now, I have done this before, but I am going to grab these again because we have split out the departments, and this is how it works. For every single business, specifically when it comes to service-based businesses, the three main departments that are going to be the lion's share of the things that happen early on in your journey, and there are going to be other things that are, apparent later down the line, but these are really important things to have. Marketing, sales, fulfillment. Marketing, sales, operations. Operations will include, in some cases, the entire scope of everything that incorporates not just fulfillment, but also HR and finance and accounting and legal and compliance and things like that as well. A lot of people don't have to worry about, HIPAA and SOC and etc. in their livelihoods. So I'm not going to include that inside of this list of ideas that we're going to generate and then group into agents. But I will include the main ones, especially operations, because there's a lot of things that a lot of people are doing for marketing and sales, which is just easy and intuitive that they're not doing with operations. So what I'm going to do is the following. We're going to take these ideas and we're going to flesh them out for a specific type of business that has similar functions to other types of businesses. So we'll do content and ad-based businesses in this regard here. Now, marketing. What's marketing going to be for these types of businesses? Well, ads, content, cold outreach, lead nurture. Lead nurture will always stay the same. Let's say that they are running ads and they're running content, but they're not running cold outreach. They're just doing the big stuff that compounds in order to get the leads and the clients that they want to get. We can stick to those. That's fine. Let's say they don't need an audit, so we can leave that alone. And they are just running contracts and sales calls, and they have a CRM because CRMs are required, especially when running ads. That's all fine and good. But with fulfillment, we can bulk this out a little bit. So we have onboarding, we have ideation. After ideation, we have campaign creation. In fact, we won't even go campaign creation. We'll go shooting and videography. Shooting and videography. And then after shooting and videography, we have editing. And then after editing, we have social media management. And, wow, I can't spell, management. And then we have campaign creation as well. Let's say these guys are doing not just the bog standard social media posts, they're also doing a few ads here and there as well. Now, we have the functions. The next step is to generate the bottlenecks. If you assume that every single one of these departments, once split into functions, operates like a series of pipes that are connected, where each pipe has a specific width to it, then we can say, for example, with ads, the very start of the ads is, now it starts before the point that you actually start spending money, but let's just start at the spending money part. You spend money on the ads. Once you spent money on the ad, depending on what the funnel is, they will go through specific steps. First is clicking on the ad, or even watching more than 3 seconds of the ad. They've watched 3 seconds. Okay, good. Next step is, once we've got retention on the ad, they click on the ad. Once we've gotten clicks on the ad, we then have an understanding of what people are doing once they land on the landing page. Let's say that they fill in a form on the landing page. That's the next step. And then after filling in the form, they need to book in a call with a salesperson. That's the last step. That is what the 5 stages of ads are. There are going to be certain bottleneck. You may be spending a ton of money on the ad and getting a lot of retention on the ad and a lot of clicks, but the moment they hit the landing page, nobody converts, nobody fills in the form, nobody uses the type form, nobody does whatever they need to do. And then after that, from the point that no one's filling in the type form, you're not really getting any calls because of that either. Focusing on those is what we're going to do across the entirety of all of these systems. So what we're going to do insofar as understanding the bottlenecks is we're going to copy and paste all of these again, and we're going to write out a series of bottlenecks. So here are a few ideas. Bad conversion rates on landing pages, bad conversion rates on individual ads. Creative diversity is lacking, so only one of our ads is really printing. Can't see results on a regular basis, and can't track how many leads have converted from start of the ad to the close. So the way that you can think about this as well, insofar as the different types of bottlenecks and problems that are currently occurring, is that there are some active ones and there are some passive ones. Active means things that can be done to alleviate the problem physically or, with your own actions. And then passive is things that we need to be able to monitor and maintain so that things are staying within a specific level. Passive is usually I need eyeballs. Active is we need to do stuff. So if you think about that in this way, that's kind of the easiest way to understand the ways to generate as many ideas as humanly possible. I'm now going to make all of these ideas. And these are the ideas for the bottlenecks. So you can see here, for ads, content, and lead nurture, we have all of these. Same thing with sales calls, contracting, and CRM, and so on and so forth. Now, I would write these out for your specific business. For the purpose of this video, I just did this in Claude. I just got it to give me these. But you want to think about all of the problems of your business whilst you're doing this for these specific functions of each of the departments that you run inside of your business. This here is for ads. These are some examples on top of the ones that I had beforehand. So not tracking how many leads have converted from start of the ad to close, bottlenecked by creative approvals, not able to scale winners. Lead nurture, we have bottlenecked by response time, can't get people to re-engage, bottlenecked by manual follow-ups, can't personalize at scale. All of these things, right? Same thing for all of these. Now, the solution to this, insofar as what you're going to build, you would basically just do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is copying this over and then writing down solutions. So now we have solutions, which means we can go into all of these and we can, in indented bullet points, just start adding stuff. Now, here's where we need to add 50 different things. So I'm going to add 50 different things. And here's a messy list of all of the specific agents that would be used on all of these items here. So you can see that what I've done is I've created .mds just as an example of things that it would build. Now, the way that you would probably write this if you were to do this for yourself is just explain an agent that blank, or an agent that locates blank, an agent that shoots blank, an agent that will have blank. Just do that, and that will basically be the exact same thing as what I have done here. And then all you would do is you would take this ginormous list and then you would run it through Claude, and you would just copy all of the content from here. Now, again, I did this in Claude, which means that the information is going to be in Claude, but I would highly recommend you actually just don't do this using AI. Like, actually use your brain. Don't have AI give you the thing that you know. Don't let AI give you something that you know better than AI does, especially when you're able to vocalize it better and better as well, because of, you know, compounding issues, which I could get into, but I'm not going to, just to keep the brevity of this message in point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Claude, and inside of Claude, which is, you know, all of these, we are now going to ask it to group all of the .mds into agents, or into buckets that are all related. So what that's going to do is, and again, you would just put all of your information in here, and then all it's going to do is just, as you can see, that data and analytics infrastructure. So we have full funnel attribution tracker, lead journey mapper, conversion path analyzer, touchpoint aggregator, unified lead timeline, cross-channel journey mapper, daily super-based push from socials, cross-platform analytics aggregator, so on and so forth, performance analysis and optimization, so ad performance rankers, landing page analyzers, budget pacing monitors, change impact predictors, and engagement forecasters, audience activity. Then you have content creation and ideation. We have creative variant generator, which requires an exhaustive list of personas as references for context. Add angle diversifier, creative theme rotator, creative repurposer MD, which requires an exhaustive list of personas. Trend monitor, competitor content tracker, trending topic aggregator. All of these are indicative of skills and Python scripts that the specific agent, which is the content ideation agent, you could basically give this a name, and then, you know, the approval and workflow management guy and the quality assurance and brand compliance guy, all of these roles are the different jobs that are involved here. Now, there's almost too many here. So I would say whittle this down such that there is no overlap between different .md files. What this is going to do is the final part, which is divide. So we've now multiplied out, we've combined them into these specific items. In fact, this is combined. I'm talking nonsense. It's late. So what we're doing right now is we're actually reducing the number of items within all of these by removing things that are included in other things. So if you have item A and item B, but item B is already 80% of item A, like the overlap of this Venn diagram is just really, really high. You want to remove those things and you want to replace them with things where there's minimal overlap, because you're going to get better coverage across all the things that you're going to do. But now we have all of these, and honestly, I still don't like how many there are. I would probably reduce this down even more. But now the final part is to take the entire list that you have and run it through the Maniac prompt. I'm going to show you what the Maniac prompt is now. So this is the Maniac prompt. Now, this one it requires a bit of stuff that you need to fill in order to get it to spit out exactly what you want it to spit out, which means that you actually need to start off building this manually in order to make this work effectively. So I'm going to explain what that means. So if you can see here, current plan, I want to create a tool that has access to tech stack that completes actions, including but not limited to A, B, C. Just fill this in really lightly so that it has a place to start off with. What I've done here is I've wrapped this in XML, which means that this is going to be read when a plan is referenced over here. And the rest of the prompt goes like this. Play the role of an enterprise, your niche/industry. The above context that I provided to you is a product that I'm giving to Cursor to build via a prompt. I need to get every single iota of information down before I send anything over to Cursor to build these agents. I want all parties to know exactly what to do, and that starts with you. There are a number of different considerations that I want to add that I need you to quiz me on, investigate me on. That's not proper English, and thoroughly help me identify using consistent, persistent questioning from the provided context, comma, conversations that we've had in the past that you can access via your memory. If this is something that you've spoken about already inside of your Claude or your GPTs, or these are problems that you've tried to solve in any way, shape, or form, it will then bring those informations or those bits of information back into the prompt so that you can have that conversation there, as well as what you can see with the implementation required based on how I work with clients. Use 10 to 20 multiple choice questions per message, and do not stop until you have the entire picture. Be supremely thorough. Once done, present to me the entire prompt in Markdown with all information. This here will build out every single item in and of itself. Now, what's going to end up happening is, especially when we take a look at how this is initially built, you can just see that there's a ton of stuff, but there's also a ton of different names here. So you got data analysis, content creation and ideation. I would now, and I'm actually going to do this now, combine these into 4 buckets and give them names, e.g. a person's name, Frank, Amy, etc. These are agents. So what this is going to do is it's basically just going to take all of those and it's going to compile them into, okay, Atlas, nice. Core function, intelligence and performance analysis. Scout, core function, content creation and strategy. Forge, core function, production and asset management. Maestro, orchestration and stakeholder management. There you go. So now all of these .md files, or all of these ideas are going to be generated. All we're going to do now is we're going to plug in the Maniacal prompt and we're going to get it to spit out Atlas. That's kind of the whole idea about this. Like, you can go in and just create these, just do away with it. Then same thing with this, do away with it. Same thing with this, do away with it. Same thing with this, do away with it. Now, I'm going to do that in a new chat. So I'll copy this, and then between 2 bits of XML, I'm going to paste it. So I'm going to say these are the agents /agents. So this will encapsulate all the information that we have here. And then I'm going to upload the Maniacal prompt, which we can see right here. In fact, I'm going to make it look a little bit more pretty. There you go. Remember, a lot of these prompts, and this is one of the annoying things that I find out about prompts, they're not malleable. So you get the exact same thing in specific ways. But if you make the changes that you need to make in order to get this to work effectively, it means that you're going to essentially build the thing that you know you need to build. So this one here, I'm going to say I want to build Atlas, a tool that has access to, we'll just say Superbase, Airtable, I'll say my Superbase, Airtable, Facebook, Ads Manager, and I don't know, like Nano Banana, I guess, that completes the requisite actions as denoted. I'll complete this off camera just to make this a little bit easier. So I've just said I want to create Atlas, a tool that has access to blank, blank, and blank that completes the requisite actions denoted by the makeshift.md files. I put makeshift here because I actually don't want this to spit out actual .md files with those names if it doesn't make sense for them to be the way that they are. Including but not limited to creating regular message forecasts, creating plans for next week's ad campaigns, giving clients reports to how things are going, etc. And then that's the end of the current plan. This is the rest of the prompt. This is how it's going to read. And then the way that what this is going to do is it's going to spit out a bunch of multiple choice questions per message. So if I run this, you'll see how it's going to work. Example of the agents. Now you can see Atlas Agent System pre-build discovery questionnaire. I'll systematically extract every detail needed for a complete implementation spec. Let's start with the foundational architecture and data model. Round 1. And it's just spitting out more and more and more stuff. And you can see here that all of these questions are just including places for me to add extra information. It's also included in combinations of different things. But look at this. It's super, super in depth what it gives you. And it's going to run through multiple rounds of this. And the output is going to be insanely big. So you can see here, answer these 20 questions and I'll proceed to round 2, covering operational workflows, specific agent behaviors, and output requirements. Just like that, we have a list of questions that would then be answered. And that's going to go into, once you've gone through this entire list, what will end up happening is you'll end up getting into a position where you have a prompt to feed into Cursor that is this big. This big. It keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. Now, obviously, you're not going to put that much information into one Cursor chat, but you are going to be able to break this down into multiple different chats and then turn those into specific windows that you would then go in and implement over a series of different conversations, test iteratively, and then progress in stages until you get to a point where everything is working the way that it's meant to. So that is how you create. I probably created about 90 or 100 different ideas there, but that is exactly how you would go through and generate ideas for your business. It's multiply out, combine, divide. Take your business, multiply it out into the different departments and the different functions, and then multiply out the functions into all of the problems and bottlenecks that you're currently dealing with. Then you will turn each of those problems and bottlenecks into solutions. And then you would combine the solutions that are all the same, that have a really tightly overlapping Venn diagram. And then you would divide up all of the solutions into specific agents. You would then take the understanding of what those agents are, feed the Maniac prompt into Claude alongside that information, and then generate all of the conversations that you're going to have with Cursor, and then bang, 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 bang. Everything is there, everything is created, and it's all good to go. So if you're looking for more tools, more tips, more tricks, and more ways to get agentic workflows and anything that you're building in any IDE to work a lot more effectively, or you're just looking for a way to reduce the amount of time that you're spending on clients that you don't want to be working with because you want to be working more so in your zone of genius, whether that be creating better things for people, ideation, or just sales, then there's a bunch of videos on my platform, on my channel, in order to ascertain some of the things that you may be looking for. So hopefully you find something, and there's going to be a link like there or there in order to click around and have a bit more fun on my channel.